New York City just elected a new mayor who wants to rewrite the rules. That's right, rent freezes, higher taxes on the wealthy, publicly run grocery stores, as well as publicly run childcare, and much, much more. Now, as some see this as compassion, others see it as their sign to finally leave the great city of New York. If you love your paycheck, your job, an affordable place to live and raise your family, and an opportunity to expand your business, New York is probably not the place you're going to be able to do that anymore. But Charlotte, North Carolina actually may be one of the top cities in the United States that will fit every single one of those needs. In this video, I'm going to be diving into what you can expect to change in New York City, as well as why millions of people are already lining up to start looking for another place to call home, and why Charlotte might be the best place for you from every aspect of living, affordability, and more. So let's dive into it. New York just hired a new mayor, and the outlook for the overall existence and what we once knew as New York City itself, especially as a former New Yorker here, does not look bright. Economists from a variety of backgrounds have all agreed on one thing: the policies that are being presented are not sustainable, and it's going to have a dramatic and negative impact on not only the city of New York, the economy of New York, but especially the people that call it home. One of the biggest policies that is expected to come through is higher taxes, especially on those that own and run businesses and are considered the wealthiest in New York. Now, the top 1% in New York actually account for 48% of the tax basis currently. As those taxes increase on those particular individuals, they are going to want to find a new place to live. Why? Well, as a business owner myself, I understand this, that when expenses get too high, you don't have profits. And when you don't have profits, you can't expand the business or hire more people. Now, this is going to lead to a few things. One, you're probably going to see pay decreases or overworking of the employees that are already there without actually increasing the pay, because they can't. Number two is you're going to see a majority of wealthy individuals, whether they have built up an online or some of these larger corporations that have headquarters in New York, are probably going to start to leave. And in fact, there's already been a lot of talk about this happening if this particular mayor were put into place. Well, it's happening. So what's going to end up happening is these larger companies are going to relocate to other states with lower taxes, better incentives for corporations, which is then going to increase the job market and availability in those other areas while taking it away from New Yorkers who need it most. Now, we've already seen this happen in California with a mass exodus of major companies and the wealthy leaving California, going to areas like Texas, Florida, North Carolina, South Carolina, where the corporate tax structure is more advantageous, not only for profit, but for growth, which has grown the economy in all of those states and cities in which they landed. So why Charlotte, North Carolina for a relocation from New York? Well, North Carolina actually ranks as a top state when it comes to corporate policies, and it makes it more advantageous not only for small business owners, but large corporations. North Carolina has given numerous tax incentives to corporations moving to the North Carolina area, and especially Charlotte. Now, in addition to that, if you run a small business or an independent business, it actually has the most advantageous tax structure from a state perspective for small businesses. Did you know that small businesses are actually a major backbone of the US economy and the cities that they're in? Well, there's a reason why the Charlotte economy is so strong. Aside from the fact that we are backed by the financial districts, the second largest in the United States, we also have a hub for small businesses. That's right, startups, both tech, restaurants, you name it. There are a ton of companies and businesses in Charlotte, and all of them can expand and hire employees, then creating jobs. So it's the stability that Charlotte, North Carolina brings that's attracting corporations, high net worth individuals, and highly skilled workers. And you can still have a very affordable lifestyle on top of that because, well, we're more affordable than New York. If you're looking for everything Charlotte, North Carolina, then you've come to the right channel. Be sure to click on the subscribe button and be the first to know about all upcoming changes to the Charlotte market. I'm 𝗖𝗀 𝗀𝘀, your Charlotte, North Carolina real estate expert. And every day, we get calls, texts, emails, and Zoom invites from people who are just like you, looking to make the move to the Charlotte, North Carolina area and the upstate of South Carolina. So if that's you, be sure to drop down into the description below. All of our contact information is there, whether you're moving in 9 days or 90 days across the world, the country, or right across town. We're here to make your move everything you want it to be. So the next major change that is being proposed is some major borrowing and a lot of financial risk. Analysts and fiscal groups have already flagged that the funding of free childcare, housing developments, as well as free transit is actually going to cost multiple billions above what is already being stated and potentially proposed. This raises long-term debt and funding risks, and in combination with what we just talked about, if 48% of the tax base are leaving New York City, or a large majority of them, where is the taxes and the money coming from to pay for all of these services? Well, of course, if folks start leaving, the taxes are going to have to roll on to the next group of people, the middle class, and then even lower than that, because the services once put into place are going to have to keep being paid for. There's not a clear plan to get there. So why is Charlotte the alternative to all of this? Well, Charlotte, North Carolina in general is already an extremely affordable city, especially in the way cities go. When compared to all the top cities in the country, we are among the top 3 most affordable. Our economy shows steady GDP and job growth forecast, as well as I mentioned, a business-friendly environment. Now, while Charlotte has plenty of government and city programs to help those that are in need, we do also have a very strong sense of our fiscal responsibility as well as our balance sheet. With low fiscal volatility as well as a very steady cost of living that has not fluctuated much in several years, as well as expanding employment opportunities as companies have already started to move here over the years, it shows a steady growth in our economy, which also leads to a steady lifestyle and making sure that we're not going deep into debt. For many New Yorkers headed into a financially uncertain time in New York, you can rest assured that Charlotte, North Carolina has certainty moving forward for many, many years. Next big thing that has come across the table when it comes to New York has to do with living. That's right, rent freezes across New York City. Now, while this might bring immediate relief, it's actually going to cause some major problems into the future, and the long-term impact is going to be detrimental. I think everyone can agree that, of course, we need affordable rent for people that are living in our cities. It's no different here in Charlotte, North Carolina. However, rent freezes are actually going to be damaging to the overall not only availability but quality of rentals that you're getting in New York City. Let me deeper explain. If you are owning a building or a unit in New York City and now your rent is frozen at, let's say, $3,000 a month, well, you're probably not going to make any improvement to the property, because in any other state, including the city of Charlotte, North Carolina, if you make improvements to a property, it increases the value. That increased value can then go ahead and either receive a higher rental income or write-offs in some way. Well, New York's not doing that. Instead, you can't raise your rent no matter what you do to the property, which means the quality of the properties that are going to be available are going to drastically decline, because there's no reason for a owner of the property to make those improvements, because there's not going to be money to pay for it. See, most of that make improvements, the money that they're going to get in the higher rent is going to pay back for the improvement that was made, which means we get deteriorated apartments and housing. It discourages investment, which means you're not going to have as many rentals available. And many folks that are investors in New York that actually do own those properties, they would rather not rent them out than rent them at a deficit. So these properties are going to fall into disrepair and then just not be rented. As New York City already has a scarcity of housing units, this will further shrink the supply. But guess what? The demand is going to rise, but prices can't go anywhere. And you're going to find that more and more investors are selling out of New York City to get the heck out of Dodge. And again, those properties are going to get worse. So why is Charlotte, North Carolina different, especially for investors? Well, we are an investor-friendly city. That's right. You get benefits as an investor as you are bringing housing to the market for those that cannot purchase but can rent. Now, on top of that, cost of living indexes in Charlotte are far, far lower than New York City. I'll never forget explaining to cousins of mine who lived on the West Side that their $3,000 barely one-bedroom apartment was absolutely insane, and that they could get probably a 4,000 square foot home at the time for that same cost, including their taxes. Yes, affordability is much better in Charlotte, North Carolina. But in addition to that, as an investor in Charlotte, if you are purchasing properties and making seeing, of course, improvements. There are no freezes or locks on rent. We are a free, open economy when it comes to rentals and real estate here in Charlotte, North Carolina, which in and of itself allows itself to regulate. And you'll notice some prices don't exactly rent while others do. That's what you call a free and open market. You're thinking about getting out of New York because of the limit in units available, the deterioration of those apartments, or if you're investing, Charlotte, North Carolina might be where you need to look. Another major move that is being pushed in New York is affordable housing. Now, before you get upset, I do agree in affordable housing, and Charlotte actually has some amazing ways that we have gone about doing this, where when there's major housing projects being put together, we actually have a certain number of units set aside that are specifically for affordable housing, not only single family, but also multi-use complexes. It's really cool. But New York is doing things a little different. Now, for the longest time in New York, unions have been a challenge. Yes, I have plenty of family who are in the unions. My grandfather was president of the Wirelathers Union. Yes, unions have a place, but there are some major challenges and expenses that are going to arise when it comes to the subsidized housing developments that are being proposed. Pledges to use union wage labor on these subsidized projects can actually increase the overall cost of the project by 23%. Now, not only does it make these projects more expensive, but it's actually going to slow down the process of actually getting them to market and getting them available to those who need housing. Slower home building and higher municipal costs are going to equate to fewer new homes coming to market. So people that are looking for a newer home with a more modern architecture are actually finding themselves moving closer to the Sun Belt, which would be the South, to find not only better quality, but also more affordability. Now, Charlotte, North Carolina, like any city, is adding people on a daily basis. We're netting about 115 people per day. That being said, though, because we have less restrictions on building, build times on new construction can be as quick as 6 months for a single family home, meaning we don't have as much pent-up demand and we have more availability when it comes to our inventory. Now, in addition to that, we have more land, less taxes, lower costs, and a more competitive labor market, which means you can get affordability you're looking for. In addition to that, we do have affordable housing projects, as I had mentioned, and these affordable homes are available in a variety of areas around Charlotte, including the Charlotte Metro. So if this is what you want, and this is what you want in your lifestyle is lesser costs, Charlotte, North Carolina is where you need to be. Another one being proposed are government-run services. Now, I have plenty of friends who've been in the military, anyone who's ever visited VA knows that this is probably not a good idea. No offense, VA, but you just can't handle things properly. In fact, while government run sounds great, in fact, if we push it to a private sector or a private company, usually it's more efficient. But the idea of free or lesser cost definitely is something that people are attracted to. In a nutshell, having government-run services, especially grocery stores, will be eventually detrimental. It sounds great to have lesser costs, but it's also going to come with less variety, less jobs available, and it's going to put some of these smaller bodegas out of business. Well, I don't know about you guys, but I love my local bodegas, but they are not going to be able to sustain. The one thing I have going for them is that the bodegas will still sell lottery tickets, cigarettes, and alcohol, which are banned in the government-run grocery stores. One of the other big problems is if these government-run services are left underfunded, you're going to see shortages, issues, and of course some damage in an economic standpoint. Now, here's where Charlotte differs massively. Charlotte, North Carolina, and North Carolina in general have an economic ecosystem that relies heavily on private sector job growth as well as diversified employers. These include finance, tech, health, and many others. Now, what this is doing is not only breeding competition, which will lower costs on its own, but it also creates stable job growth and service predictability. So if you're worried about long-term service instability, Charlotte's where you need to be. Now, in addition to this, if we want to take a look at what's gone on historically, we can use Venezuela as a cautionary tale. Now, as we know, Venezuela's collapse all harbored from state control of numerous things. This involves the economy, price controls, exportations, dependency on oil, mismanagement, and of course, corruption. Together, this caused the GDP in Venezuela to collapse, caused hyperinflation and a mass emigration, or people leaving Venezuela because the economy was no longer stable. Sound familiar? While some scholars have stated that these two comparisons of New York City and what their plans are to Venezuela are imperfect simplifications, I think we can all see the pretty clear ties that this probably won't work out for them. So here's the deal. Higher taxes, the wealthy leave, which actually gives you less taxes to use. Freebies without clear funding is going to cause some major financial problems and credit and financing issues. Rent freezes sound great until they're not, when there's less supply or crappy apartments to be rented. And if lessons from other failing economies that put in these exact policies aren't enough, you may already start feeling the changes and the shifts happening in New York City. I'm here to tell you that Charlotte, North Carolina, that is why I have made this home. Coming from New York, Charlotte has exactly what I'm looking for. Enough city, enough country, enough great food. It's quite the melting pot of individuals and diversity. And yeah, you're close enough to the mountains and the ocean. It pretty much has everything you're looking for, including a strong economy, great schools, affordability, and we don't really get snow. So ditch the snow shovel and the new upcoming changes and make the move to Charlotte. I hope you got a ton of value out of this video. And if you have further questions on things that maybe are going on that you're not sure about and how Charlotte handles ourselves down here, go ahead and drop it in the comments, or better yet, give me a call. I'm 𝗖𝗁 𝗀𝗁, your Charlotte, North Carolina and upstate of South Carolina real estate expert. And every single day we're helping people just like you who are thinking about making the move to Charlotte, North Carolina. So if that's you, drop into the description below. All of our contact information is there. Whether you're making the move in 9 days or 90 days, coming across the world from New York or right across town, we're here to make your move everything you want it to be. Until next time, I look forward to showing you around town. So you're making the move. There's a lot of videos that you can be watching, like this one right here, or maybe even this one. Really either one of these, but honestly, watch both of them because they're going to help you make the move. Go ahead, pick one. They're both really good.